born. My big question is this a temporary solution? What happens in 10, 20 years from now when the airport is going to grow like you guys are predicting and want to? And then on top of that, you're trying to compare Detroit Metro to a small airport to Grand Rapids. So why can't one of those full tank containment systems work for us? On top of that, I would like to know what it's going to do to my fishing, because everyone knows me, I'm an avid fisherman, so I'd like the answers to that too. Thank you.
My name's Rusty, and I'm on the Thornapple River also. And I would suggest that you change your slides, because it's kind of insulting to refer to our tributary as unnamed. There's hardly a better way to explain the disconnect between the government and what we're talking about at a home forum.
I actually, the Kent County plat map on accesscat.com has the creek labeled as Trout Creek.
My name is Mark Renzenbrink, and I'm new to the river. So a lot of this information my wife Robin and I have heard this evening is new. I have to tell you that I get the impression that this train's 3/4 of the way down the track. I don't know if we can stop it. And quite frankly, I'm amazed at the fact that it's gotten this far at any level, whether it be the EQ, whether it be the airport, any solution that will negatively impact a very sensitive environmental element like the river. How can that even be a possibility when there are other options? Now, I'm not dumb. I know it's probably one thing, money. But if you have 90% of this bill covered, and you can do anything that would harm the environment, I just don't see that as a viable solution. Thank you.
Scott, there's other comments up here on the left as well.
I just wanted to know where we can find the answers to these questions.
Where did we get a chance next week?
Yes, my name is Quincy Leslie, and I have been developing programs and projects at the international and national level for over 30 years, including a global system for over 1,400 sites for the U.S. Department of Defense and all other hazardous waste remediation, which is under CFR 241. And that includes quite a bit of different grades of hazardous waste. I noticed PG is under CFR 21 and 41, also Michigan Law 451. I wish to commend Mr. Dixon as a presentation. There's a concept in program management called progressive elaboration, and I think he just tonight provided us with the progression and the elaboration we needed in terms of the scope of the work that needs to be done. And additionally, capital cost was presented of $22 million or thereabouts. And that includes just strictly capital costs. There's a concept called total cost of operation, and the total cost of operation will include ongoing operations, their maintenance, there may be legal situations, there will be upgrades that need to be done, and then there will be follow-on systems that will be more effective in the long run. So since this permit probably runs for 2 more years, I would strongly suspect that the association should embrace Mr. Dixon and what he presented here tonight. And if it's not possible in the near term to employ better solutions, maybe the immediate solution on the table should be chosen, and then immediately begin on the follow-on solution that will be more effective. Because there is no program. A program by definition does not start and stop. A program is ongoing and continually improves. So consequently, I'm recommending that a program approach rather than a project approach be taken on this entire measure. And again, I commend the exceptional presentation by Mr. Dixon. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ron Young, and I'm new to the river. I've been a long-time resident of Grand Rapids. I can tell you I've done a fair amount of research on this subject over the last 3-4 weeks, and Mr. Eckler was so kind as to distribute a memo to me actually yesterday that described the proposed system that's here. As an engineer, one of the things that people have asked about tonight is what happens when there's extreme flows, or will the system handle all of the PG that's distributed. Pretty common practice within engineering is to do an 80-20 rule. So essentially, the system is set up to capture 80% of the PG that essentially makes it to the system, and that means under extreme outfalls, some of that will be bypassed or go straight into the river, I'm assuming is the result of that work. So the net result is, I think would be very helpful, or what I would like to know is what happens under those extreme flows, essentially the 20%, what happens to that PG level, does it get processed at all or not? Thank you.
Thank you. One or two questions, comments, and then we're going to go.
Got one right over here. Go this way.
Right down the middle.
Back.
Hi, I'm Ann Cunningham. I'm a resident of Cascade Township, and I also serve on the Thornapple River Association. About 5:30 today, I was having an extreme panic attack thinking nobody was going to come to this meeting. I cannot tell you how relieved and happy I am that you guys are all here. I would like to speak to the DEQ. We're asking you to stand with us and make a permit that has teeth to it. We need you to do that. I don't know, where are the Cascade Township officials and board? Would you raise your hand if you're on the Cascade board or Cascade Township board and officials? We need you to stand with us too. You've been a bit mute on this. I know you said you did not want to take a stand either way. What better thing can you do for our community but take a stand on this issue? Or you're going to have to redo that logo back there and probably take the river off.
I know there's been a lot of complaints about the airport, but I do think the DEQ has not protected us. It certainly did not protect Trail Creek, and I think that they have to answer. So I'm hoping that they explain why our waterways are not protected by the department, by your department. And if it's not going to be, protected, then why do we have a Pure Michigan campaign? Why are we promoting our state in a way that talks about the wonderful waterways if it's not going to be protected?
My name is Christina Romance. I grew up in Cascade, left, and then came back because I liked it that much. But I just wanted to reiterate the fact that we need to know some actual numbers. Gallons. How much is 7%? Is it 7% of 100, which is only 7, or is it 7% of 100,000, which is a whole lot bigger number? And I'm looking forward to getting those numbers when I come back next week.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a quick comment too. I know a number of people have spoke about fishing and about the tolerances in the permit being the levels, maybe the standard being too low. The river has a dissolved oxygen level of about 15 in the winter, and in the summer the lows we've seen have been around 10. The federal standard for warm water fishery is 5. So the permit is based on everything, that all the calculations, if I'm not mistaken, are based on a standard of 5. Is that correct? 5 milligrams per liter?
The warm water standard in Michigan is an instantaneous minimum of 5 milligrams per liter under critical conditions. So it's at drought flow conditions, it's at 90th percentile temperatures, and we can talk about that next week to see what the level of protection is. But it predicts a higher level of protection for the vast bulk of the time.
Right.
And under extreme conditions, it's at the 5.
Okay, so you're going with the worst case scenario and take that's what everything's been calculated towards. Okay.
All right. I don't mean to cut anyone off, but I do like to keep things on time. We're right at 8:30, and I do truly appreciate those that came and presented to us this evening. I do appreciate the airport the DEQ. Thanks for taking time out of your evenings. Thank you especially to Jim Dixon for the kind of the ability to get it into lay terms for most of us to understand. I didn't want to let the questions and comments go on too long, but I also have to let you know that as a president of the association, as well as Scott on his association, 2 hours out of your time is a very small amount compared to the amount of time that we've spent as associations and boards listening to neighbors and other people ask how in the world we can get involved. We have struggled to try and figure out how to create momentum on this. And there's no excuse for it, but it's hard when everyone's extremely busy. But hopefully this, for the representatives that are here, you do understand and you can hear that there is a very large concern of what's, whether or not our interests are being looked after. So please take that into consideration as you, continue to review this this permit, and as the airport continues to evaluate the correct and the long-term sustainable solution to the de-icing runoff. Thank you for everyone for being here this evening. Please have a fantastic evening. Thank you.
Please remember to come back next week, too.
No, I saw 8. I haven't, yeah, I don't know.